All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Today, we're going to be breaking down the top prop bets in the NFL Hall of Fame game. Okay, we're going to spend a little bit of time on that. Now, I have put out two videos for that already, both yesterday, one for NFL DFS and then one more of a deep dive for this slate. This is not going to be a deep dive. This is going to be me just covering some of the bigger edges that we are getting because we are getting some decent middling opportunities. And I do want to spend some time on that, where I'm going to be placing those bets. I'm excited for NFL to be back, guys, if you haven't caught on. I know most of you guys are as well. So we're going to spend a decent amount of time with that. And then we are getting some okay spots in the MLB and even less so in the WNBA. But I do want to give you guys a bet slip that is going to include some of those lines as well for the MLB and WNBA. So we'll do that at the end of the video. And then I do have a quick update to an NFL DFS tool that I want to share with you guys there as well. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into this video, give a like, and let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so the first bet that we have here is going to be with Brendan Rice. Okay, we are seeing a pretty decent middle here, okay, where his line is at 19.5 on Prize Picks. Okay, so this is per the 9 to 5 Prize Picks optimizer here, guys, where we can start this bet, and if we like it, we can place it on underdog. I should start off with saying right away, though, if we are placing some of these bets here, the chances are that we're just going to end up middling with them. Now, for the most part, we probably should be chasing a lot of over bets on underdog and a lot of under bets on Prize Picks, which I do want to call it this tweet from Underdog. Kind of interesting here, guys. They're obviously trying to get some volume here, but they said notable rookies playing in the Hall of Fame game tonight. This is stuff we already knew, but what I find interesting is the amount of bets that we are getting for a lot of these. So 80% of bets are on Lambert Smith to get over 28.5. If you guys watched my video, you know I like that one a decent amount because he should get a lot of playing time. We'll spend some time on that. Hampton as well. That one is not a good bet. That's a terrible bet because you could get a better edge on him on Prize Picks. We'll touch on that in just a second. Trey Harris is will decent prop line difference, and same thing with Isaac Tesla. Those are two pretty low lines for those two players that are rookies with a decent amount of investment. I mean, obviously all four of those guys are getting a decent amount of hype, but very low lines for those two players that have a decent amount of hype and draft capital invested in them. And so, yes, I do think we probably want to be betting on Rice both sides of this bet. I do probably like the under a little bit more, guys. Typically speaking, the Hall of Fame game is a pretty bad game. There are typical one star that stands out, maybe a quarterback and a receiver. Could end up being Rice, don't get me wrong, but this is one where it's off by 4. This could end up being a full reception, right? So this is a spot where, yes, I'm going to be betting both sides of that. We're going to star that one. From there, we are getting this Trey Harris line. Again, I mentioned we're getting a big prop line difference for. Okay, so look at this actually. So the underdog line of 15.5 is actually ass. Don't bet on that. Bet on his over on Prize Picks if you guys are going to do that. So I feel bad a little bit for the 98% of people. Well, actually, never mind. The 98% of people are the reason as to why this line has probably been bumped up a little bit. But that is probably the reason why we're getting this pretty big edge here between the two sites now. So yes, if you guys like this bet on the over. Again, if I'm running these bets out there, I'm probably going to end up middling. So Jalen Johnson, this one is fascinating. I'm a little bit surprised because like Rice, I have not seen him get very much hype. Okay, so that's another spot where I do think we're probably wanting to bet on the under. Now, like I mentioned in the previous video, we do have some of this preseason data, and for what it's worth, the Chargers were the third most pass-happy team. That being said, they only threw 31 pass attempts, which ranked about middle of the pack. So I do think that's worth calling out. I just think that this game being the Hall of Fame game and them going against Detroit, for what it's worth, guys, Detroit averages the third most rush attempts in the preseason. Okay, under Dan Campbell. Okay, that's what we're looking at there. And so this could just be a massive time of possession game where there's just not that many plays in general. And so, yeah, I do think naturally chasing more of the unders, which for preseason, for no-name players, we do tend to probably want to do that. Same thing here with Malik Taylor. 3 yards is a big prop line difference, guys. We should be targeting those. Now, a player that a lot of people are trying to be on is actually Dominic Lovett here. This is a spot where he is a rookie for Detroit, late round pick. He's someone that throughout Detroit Lions camp has really not gotten that much hype. And so, again, I'm kind of more looking to go with the unders for a player like that, where, by the time he's getting in the game, which is probably going to be in the second half, it's probably going to be more of a run-heavy script. And so, yes, I probably would be more favorable on the underside, like we are being told to do, to bet on Prize Picks here. So from there, we get one of my favorite prop bets, I think, in general on underdogs. So Kai for over his rushing yards of 24.5. We got to kind of paint the picture here for you guys. So part of the reason as to why I like this is because we look at kind of the injury reports. So Vaki is someone we definitely need an injury report on. Okay, if Vaki ends up playing, who did return to practice recently, hasn't been fully participant though. And so if he were to end up sitting, that's not going to leave the Lions with that many options at the running back position. Okay, so from there, guys, they would. I don't see Craig Reynolds getting that much run as well. Okay, I feel like he's an established vet at this point. He probably will start, especially if Vaki's out. But Gibbs, David Montgomery, they're out. Small, he's going to get a decent amount of work. I think the expectation is Small, Kai, and then also Sailors, who we'll see if he ends up even getting that much work. He did sign a contract on Monday. I read into that as an instance where Vaki was just banged up and they probably just need a body for tonight's game. And so that, I think, kind of paints the picture as to why I think Kai has the best chance to end up being more of the workhorse running back here for the Lions in tonight's game. I expect him to get around 7 carries. And so thus, I do like his over of 24.5 for his rush yards. Now, I do think it's worth calling out, guys, that Sanders, okay, again, if Vaki's out, that's a pretty low line for him, who's probably going to get all of the fourth quarter. Even Small as well. Like, those are all pretty low lines, again, in a game where I do think it's going to be more of a run-happy script for all the teams. Now, if Vaki does end up playing, I do think there's a chance that he ends up getting a decent role in this game. And so that's kind of the concern, is that if he's healthy, if he's playing this game, he's going to be healthy. And if he's healthy, it makes sense to give him a decent amount of work in this game because he's not going to get in the NFL and they still want to see what they have in him. Whereas these other players are more just other players. That's exactly what they are. So there's a little bit of risk, but obviously that's going to be what the preseason is there in general. Let me continue on. We do have that Sanders one. Another big prop line difference, guys. 2 rush yards. Like, this could literally end up being, with both these players, that could end up being a rushing attempt difference, right? That, like, I don't mind again, we're betting the overs on underdog. Okay, Vaki, 3-yard difference. Okay, like, that ends up making a big difference. Now, this one has been interesting to see throughout the day. I had bet on his over, Hampton's over, earlier today when it was at 16.5 and underdog had it at still 20.5. That was a big prop line difference that we were getting earlier, but probably one that we stay away from. And then let's go ahead and get into the receivers here. So Lambert Smith is someone that I do think is going to play a lot. I think it makes sense for him to play a decent amount in this game. Like, he is someone that's just been getting a lot of hype out of Chargers camp as well. And if you look at it, like, he is trying to both play for a role on the team throughout the season, but I mean, let's face it, he needs to put together still a good camp to probably even make the roster. Now, I think that's pretty much secure, but they do go pretty deep at the receiver position. So I do like the fact that we are getting a discount on him and just love the way he adjusted the ball. They're going to want to get a good live look on him tonight and truly see what they have in him. And so again, for me, I'm looking at this bet that we are getting and I'm like, all right, let's just bet on this over on underdog. I'd rather get there. So not going to get action on that on Prize Picks because the better bet opportunity for us is going to be on Prize Picks. Now, are there any other passing yard prop differences? I mean, DJ, 4-yard passing difference. I mean, that's okay. He's going to end up playing the full fourth quarter, we know, and most of the third quarter. So the expectation for the playing time is Trey Lance is going to play a full first half and then play like one drive into the second half. Hendon Hooker, apparently that's going to be the exact same thing for him as well, per some reports. That's loosely confirmed, whereas with Trey Lance, that has been reported for sure. So just that's the issue that we have, guys, with these games. From there, we're not getting as many big prop line differences, but I did want to call it. Tom Kennedy was one that we were getting prop line differences with earlier on. Kyle Allen is seeing his lines change a decent amount. He's another one where I don't mind the over of his passing yards. If he were to play a full half for sure, we'd be very inclined to do that. Kyle Allen's a proven backup at this point. He's a capable backup. He's had good games in the NFL. And if he were for sure playing a full half, I'd be happy to get to that over. And so let's just jump to the bet slips, guys. So if we're trying to put together a bet slip for the Hall of Fame game, we can do a 10-slip bet here. And this is what we're looking at here, guys. So Brendan Rice, Trey Harris, Jalen Johnson, and then Dominique Levitt for a 4-slip bet here, guys, for that game tonight. Now, again, as you guys notice, I kind of like the overs a little bit more in underdog, so we'll give you guys a bet slip for that. And then again, we're going to go ahead and get into the MLB slate. Now, I do want to call it Isaac Tesla as well, who is someone that I have really enjoyed his film on. I was actually really surprised that he wasn't better in college. It was really shocking to me, actually. He's someone that's getting a decent amount of hype out of camp, but he's still a little bit raw in terms of what he needs to show on film. So I do think there's a good opportunity for him to play probably a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half. We got to remember, this is a Hall of Fame game, but this is what used to be like the first game in the Hall of Fame, or in the preseason, where we're only getting 4 games if a team is playing the Hall of Fame game, whereas previously that was not the case. We would get 5 games and the Hall of Fame game would just be terrible. A player like Tesla wouldn't even probably be active in this game. And so I do think he could end up playing a full quarter and a half. And if he does, I do like the over 16.5 receiving yards. This is a bet where I'm honestly willing to bet it, and it might sound strange, but I'm willing to bet it just so my mind can get exposure to Isaac Tesla a little bit more. Just so I can gauge that thought process a little bit more with him, because if the opportunity presents maybe for season-long purposes, we can really gauge better, I would say, just because we're doing the reps right now, whether or not we should be on him. Maybe week 18 DFS-wise, he's someone that's going to start, and we can like properly gauge whether or not to be on him because we had an investment in him in this game, right? We're just paying a little bit more attention. That's really why I like doing this, and also we're getting some decent edges here. So I'm happy to get to Tesla for his over 16.5 rush yards or receiving yards there as well. I wish we were getting a prize picks line so we can compare it against this. This is a bet on him playing a full quarter and halfway into the second quarter, though. Okay, he might end up playing a drive only, and then obviously that's going to suck if that ends up happening. And then if we go ahead and just get into like my bet of the day for this slate, again, already showed you guys the prize picks one. And do want to reiterate, we are going to be running out middles today. But if you're just looking at 2 slips on prize picks and underdog, it is about putting our best foot forward. And I think this does this for us on underdog today. Okay, so now just jumping back into the full slate that we have. Unfortunately, this bet's about to go live. It does look like a very solid edge for us. Typically speaking, prize picks is higher than underdog for MLB bets. That's not exactly happening right now, but that's a good spot to get to if you guys are still watching this video. We got Nick Allen for under 0.5 strikeouts. That's an interesting one. Plus EV bet that we have. Nick Allen for under his fantasy score. Evan Carter. We are getting a decent amount of good prop bets for MLB today, guys. As I mentioned, I would love for us to be getting underdog lines with those to properly compare it against. But oh well, like we'll take some of these bets that we are getting here. And then we are getting some WNBA bets, like worth mentioning, but also don't need to go out of our way to target them too much here. Like Brittany Sykes is probably my favorite one for over her points and assists of 17.5. The projection data likes it closer to 18.4. But this one only has about a 53% chance to hit. Again, you could get there, but don't need to force it. This one as well, Kiki, where again, her projection data is closer to 21.6 points and rebounds, where the line is set at 18.5 points and rebounds. So that could be a bet that you end up getting to as well. But again, that feels like we're forcing it. And for what's worth, PGA wise, no massive edges, although the course is playing a little bit easier than expected today as it currently is. So like Jasper Svensson, maybe for over 4.5 birdies or better. That should be likely for him to get that, guys. Same thing here with Thorborn Olesen. Like he should be able to get that over. Okay, that's a very interesting line, I would say, that we are getting there. And so if we get into the kind of the final prize picks bet of the day for today, guys, it's going to be this slip right here. Okay, so this is about a 1.5% edge for us here, positive edge on prize picks. Okay, so very solid bet overall. It's a little bit skewed because we're using middles, just as an FYI, between prize picks and underdog to get the evaluations for these lines, but still pretty substantial there. Now, the worth calling out, guys, as most of you guys know, the prize picks and underdog lines are going to be moving throughout the day. I can't really control that. Obviously, we can just put our best foot forward as it currently sits right now and hope that the lines don't move at all. That's why I like to give you the analysis behind it. Now, lastly, I do want to call out the 9-to-5 NFL DFS lineup builder for anyone that might be playing NFL DFS as well. So I do want to call this out right now. If you guys click on the showdown slate, or if you open up the lineup builder, it's going to default to the showdown slate, but you can configure stacks and groups. So you're going to have to re-click on that to have that pop-up pull up. Okay, I'm working on that. It's a slight thing that's going on with the data. But basically, we could click run, and we're going to get our 20 lineups, okay? But also, we're going to see this exposure tab. So let's just say we wanted to, as you guys saw during the video, Lambert Smith is someone that I like a decent amount, but especially for lineups that might be with Trey Lance in the captain spot. So if I want to put Trey Lance in the captain spot and then get to Lambert Smith as well in the flex, we can do that, and let's do that. So I want a minimum of those 2 players. So we're just putting those 2 players in. Could do a minimum. Let's say I wanted to get, I don't know, Trey Harris in there as well, which I wouldn't because we saw his data. But let's put maybe Kai in there. Or maybe Chargers as well, DST, because if we're playing Trey Lance and Lambert Smith, we're probably saying that we don't want to be in Detroit's D, but we could toss that in there as well. And we could change them into maybe 3 of those players. But I don't want to do that. We're going to get off of Chargers, and we're going to get off of Kai there as well, because I should call it, guys, I do have this stacking portion in here as well. It's a little bit wonky right now, so this is our way of doing the stacks instead. So 2 minimum players, Let's say I want them in 50% of my builds. We'll do that. So we can click off of that. Let's just say we want to do 100 lineups. So it should be in about 50. We're going to click run here. And what we're going to notice here is that it will give us those 100 lineups. Okay, so we like that. But it'll also tell us how much exposure we are getting to those players. So yes, we did get to 50 lineups met for that because of the 50% exposure with Trey Lance and then also Lambert Smith in there. Now, I'm not going to do that. That's just for example purposes, but I do want to call it one other thing here as well with the tool. So let's just say we had this max exposure. This is like a global max exposure. Let's just say we want to get to about 50% of the players. Okay, but we want to get to, let's see here, the flex for the DSTs for like Chargers and whatnot. We know that they're going to be pretty darn popular. We want to get to 70% Chargers and let's just use 60% Lions DST. The global max exposure for all the players is set at 50, but we're going to run this and then we're going to end up then being able to get over that global max exposure by setting the minimum higher. Okay, so pretty awesome tool, I would say. That's going to be available for anyone that is a 9to5 site member. If you guys are not a 9to5 site member, you guys get access to the NFL DFS optimizer, the prize picks optimizer, the underdog tools as well, the NFL preseason data as well. So lots in there for you guys. Thanks for watching. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Good luck with all of your bets today. And if you guys are playing NFL DFS, good luck with that as well. Appreciate you guys being here. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.